would like to take a look at advertising in general at L'Oréal.
I use the most expensive hair color in the world, preferenced by L'Oreal. It's not that I care about money, it's that I care about my hair. It's not just the color. I expect great color. What's worth more to me is the way my hair feels. Smooth and silky, but with body. It feels good against my neck. Actually, I don't mind spending more for L'Oreal because I'm worth it.
Because I'm worth it is maybe the only thing that everyone knows about L'Oréal. This ad have been made in 1973. And since then, and for decades, L'Oréal wants to be the expert and try to be the best one at creating the most impactful ads in the world. But since then, there was the digital revolution. And the advertising is not the same now. You don't have 30-second long video on TV with people sitting on their couch. Now is on media platform, and advertising seems like something like that. And that's it. It's only a few seconds that the user see, because if you see at this distribution curve, because we love distribution curve, you see that the distribution curve of average watch time on Facebook is that most of the people on Facebook look only at 2 seconds max of an ad. So in 2 seconds, you have to tell a story, put the brand, put a product to be effective. Because if I'm asking you on what product was the last ad, you can't tell me any brand or something. So we made an AI to spot if there is a product on a few frames of a video. It's called Product Spotter, Prosper. And with classic AI, with object detection algorithm, we could spot if there is a product, is it large enough? And it's easy to do because object detection is widely known nowadays, and we have trained it on internal data. Why we are doing it automatically, because we can check it manually, is because L'Oréal is not only one brand, it's 35 brands, and we sell products in more than 150 countries. And then the number of creatives made is huge. You have to remember that at every campaign for a specific purpose, like Christmas, like Mother's Day, it's nearly Mother's Day, each brand creates a pack of video that will be sent to every country, and then country locally will re-edit them to be sure that the message is understandable in their local countries and fits the culture. That's the classic process to make ads in L'Oréal. A brand make what we call a brand video pack with different videos in it, and then send the same brand video pack to every country, and every country do their choice. For example, they will pick the first video, for example, they will re-edit them, like translating them, like put some more scenes, like reshooting some scenes with a local influencer, for example, and then put the result in the media platform that will be shown in your Facebook feed. The problem is there is a loophole here, because the brand do not have any feedbacks from what they produced. And that's why we have created an AI for this. An AI called Media Asset Tracker. It's an AI that will track media assets to bring the gap for this feedback loop. How it works, it's just an AI that will look at media platform, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram ads, for example. They will try to compare with all the videos from the brand media pack. For example, you have this Spanish ad that will be compared with Kerasta's brand media pack, and he will see that the video is highly similar with the first video of the brand media pack. It's just the same video with different formats because it's a square format instead of a landscape format, and it's just a translation of the content between English and Spanish. The other one looks very similar because at the end of the day, it's the same campaign, it's the same media brand media pack, but it's a different length, a different format, and different purpose sometimes. So the AI will make the link between, on one part, the brand media pack and the video that have been shown, displayed in media tools in countries. Here you can see that the video one has been linked with the modified video in US, with a modified video in France. So we can gather the KPIs to say that the video number one has been put in media platform with X budget, and it has been completed in overall at X%, for example. And you can see that there is some video that have not been picked by countries, and maybe the brand will think about it for next campaign to avoid such a video because no one uses it. Math have to be robust, math for media asset tracker. You have to be robust because, as I explained before, the video has been heavily re-edited. That is to say, sometimes it's just reframing, but it can be reordering some things, or mixing multiple assets from the same media pack, or reshooting some scenes. And sometimes it's a combination of all these modifications all together. So Matt have to spot this kind of stuff. What is under the hood? But it's not a generic algorithm as the object detection one. We have to make some research, at least read some scientific paper on the kind of tasks we want to complete. Here it's near duplicate video retrieval that we want to do. It's a barbaric name just to say that we want to match video that looks the same. And how we do this? We use deep neural networks on the frames of the video. In fact, a video is just a sequence of frames, and we put each frame in deep neural network to get all visual features of frames. After that, we're generating a signature of a video that must be comparable one to another to assess the similarity between the signature and thus between videos. So it's just a two-step process where you get visual features by frame, and afterwards you go on the video level signature by compressing it and aggregating it. We couldn't do it with traditional methods because, as I said before, you have to be robust to heavily modification, even deformations, and deep neural networks know very well to do such a thing. So it became very easy to do it with such networks. As we are doing digital transformation and not just only AI, we had to encapsulate the AI into a digital product, an app that is accessible to everyone in the company. They are able to upload their media pack to be compared with AI to all the video displayed in media tools. Then they can access to results. It's the me result here. So they can have KPIs at a creative level of their media packs. For example, they can see that a country have put X money on this creative. They can see that the completion rate is maybe higher in Asia than in South America. And they can have a full overview on their content production. And thus they can make decisions. That is to say, first, this platform is a conversation starter between brands and countries because they will spot creative that is not used by countries. They will talk with them to see why for, and maybe they can rationalize their production to be able to make some new videos on new platforms such as Pinterest or such as TikTok. And thus they will be able to talk with everyone to take the best decision in production, in producing assets for media. To be honest, all this stuff have not been done in one day. It's a 4 years journey, four years journey where we started with a blank page from scratch. We had to do everything. We had to import data. We had to do some visualization to help the business. We have to do some data POCs, and we had to iterate with them and understand the process that existed already. And I think this last point is one of my lessons here, is that digital transformation is only using new technology to enhance existing processes. The global plus localization process was existing far before the digital team came here. And we could only look at it and try to see how we can help them with AI, with new technology. The second lesson I can learn is that digital transformation with AI is really hard. You have the difficulties of digital transformation. Only digital transformation is not easy because you have to convince people that you will help on their daily process that they do for decades. And you have to convince that new technology can help us to do a better job. But with AI is even more harder because you have to, you know that AI do some mistakes sometimes. So you have to track the performance of the AI. You have to track whether the error on one day is not more than the day before. And you have to be sure that error made by AI is not harmful for the business or for the application. But at the end of the day, it can be really game changer, because here in our example, we see that we change how the brand analyze the content production. Then we try to iterate campaigns after campaigns on this media pack, and month after month, week after week, and campaign after campaign, they will try to make the best ads possible to keep the #1 position of L'Oréal in the beauty market. And maybe one day they will try to do even better than the mythical Because I'm Worth It in 1973. Thanks for watching.